And thanks so much for being with us, Marianne.
Thank you both. It's always a pleasure.
And of course, each January we demonstrate our advocacy for life from womb to tomb during the March for Life in January as well. And maybe if we could start off, if you could, Marianne, by just sharing with us how abortion affects a woman and her family, and maybe start off with that, and we'll go from there.
Sure. It's a great question, and it's one that isn't often talked about. So I really appreciate you bringing it up at the very beginning. The answer is kind of complicated, really, because every woman has her own story. She's at her own place of healing. So, especially at the time of the March for Life, there's a lot of publicity in the media, in parishes, and schools, and it affects women very, very differently. If you've been to the march, sometimes you will actually see women outside the Supreme Court holding a placard, I regret my abortion. And they take a sort of public advocacy. But other women don't want anybody to know they've been through this experience, but they're conflicted because they have experienced so much pain. They don't want other women to go through this, and they want to be able in some way, shape, or form to persuade women who are considering abortion that it's not the right choice, that there is help out there. But it can be a very, very difficult time in a woman's life, especially, if she hasn't told her family, for example, about her abortion experience. How do you talk to your children? It comes through in so many different ways. And then for those who have, like many, sort of stuffed this memory deep down inside them because it's too painful to talk about, whenever the issue is brought up, whether it be in church or in the television or reading the newspaper, it starts to come to the fore. And that can be a very lonely and difficult experience for women. And it's often the time when they pick up the phone to call Project Rachel.
Now, Marianne, I know that Project Rachel supports the healing of women and their families, as you've begun to say, the pain from past abortion. But how does this support take place?
Well, ultimately, it's the love and mercy of God. I mean, we all need to recognize that it's God's eternal love and desire that everyone be in communion with him. So that's the ultimate source of all healing. But the practical way of how that is experienced by women, again, it's going to vary tremendously depending on her own history, her spirituality, the time of the abortion, how much she knew at the time, how free she was in making the decision. And also for some women, I guess to get to the practical, sometimes the best way to start is, would you like to talk with someone one-on-one, or would you feel more comfortable in a group? And that really is part of the incredible value of Project Rachel, because we're able to provide what we call an integrated approach to healing. So it recognizes first and foremost that abortion hurts a woman in so many ways, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. So all that healing has to come together. But, we also know that women heal differently depending on their own situation. And some actually find it incredibly helpful to meet with a group, because we found that for many women, because this is such a deep down secret for so many, they've never been able to talk about their experience. And, any kind of good mental health or pastoral counseling will tell you that you need to be able to talk out what you have gone through in order to go on the very difficult, sometimes, journey of healing.
We've been mentioning families, Marianne, and on ProjectRachelBoston.com, too. I know there's a section about the effects on men as well, and I was wondering if you could talk about that and maybe their regret and grief over past abortion.
Sure. That's again, an interesting question, and, sometimes people don't think about the impact of men. And, obviously, a man's experience with abortion is very different from a woman's. He does not go through it personally the way she does. I kind of find that there are different groups of men. Some men were very much involved, very much pressured a woman, whether it be a wife or a girlfriend, to undergo the abortion. And they were largely responsible for it. And sometimes, again, it takes many, many years, but they feel enormous guilt, particularly when they've seen the harm that the abortion has done to the woman who went through it. And, they know that they were deeply involved with it, they regret it. And, it's one of those issues in life that you can't make it all better. You can never bring that child back. So there is that enormous kind of pain. There's also sort of the other perspective of men who did not want their wife or their girlfriend to have the abortion. And they feel, I guess you could say, powerless as a father, that they were unable to protect their child. And then there's a big group of guys in the middle, and, you know, sometimes they're not real good communicators. And at the time of the abortion, they thought the answer was to say, oh, do whatever you want. But, you know, it was done in a way that there was not the support to say, you know, we can go through this together, we can make this baby happen, and, you know, we can put aside our differences perhaps, but do everything we possibly can to make life the best for all of us. And they're the ones who live with a lot of regret. You know, what could I have done? What should I have done? And, you know, you can weigh that through every day of your life and still never come to an answer.
You know, last week we shared some pictures of a family, friends of ours in Louisiana, who ran a virtual baby shower for pregnancy centers. Every one of us is called to value the dignity of life. How do we as people of faith, Marianne, support those who have made the painful decision to end a pregnancy?
Sure. I'm told that we can remember things in threes, so I think I want to give you three responses to that.
Okay.
One is to offer the kind of practical support that you just talked about with the, you know, the virtual baby shower. Because with COVID, everything is done differently. Here in the Archdiocese of Boston, we are so blessed to have the support of so many parishes which run parish baby showers that were founded by our dear friend Lynn Ken more than 35 years ago, believe it or not. And they have been just so helpful in providing for the material needs of people. So that's one way. The second way, and maybe I should have said this first, is to pray. Prayer is such an important component of the pro-life ministry. Certainly for the individuals who are involved, because if our work is not rooted in the love and mercy of God, we're never going to be successful. But also the intercessory prayer, you know, one of the amazing things that happens with the Project Rachel retreats is that they're a group of people who pray for the women who are about to come the week before and throughout the day. Some parishes even do Eucharistic adoration the day of a retreat. And it is so amazing to watch the expression of a woman's face when she finds out that people she has never met, will never meet, have been praying for her personally. Deeply, deeply moving. So that's just, you know, it's a quiet way, but it's a very powerful way. And I guess that the third thing that I think is so important, and it really is difficult, you know, we've got to learn how to talk about abortion in a way which is civil and kind, but still true. And that can be a very, very difficult thing to do because we're so polarized in this country on abortion and other issues. And it's very difficult. So I think one of the gems of wisdom I've learned over the years came from the group Women Affirming Life, where the idea came about, if we're really going to be effective spokespeople for life, we need to do two things. We need to look at every woman considering abortion as our sister or our daughter, you know, have that personal connection, and to see each unborn child as our own. So those of us who've had the great privilege of having children, I mean, you know the love that you have for your child. And so combining those two together, keep that in mind, then you can be effective in the way you speak about this issue. And, you know, don't be afraid.
Well, thank you so much, Marianne, for being with us. Such an important ministry. Where can people learn more about Project Rachel?
Okay, sure. For Project Rachel, we have a specially designated website. It's called ProjectRachelBoston.com. You need that Boston in there. And there's a lot of information there. There are three beautiful testimonies which are given by women who've been through the Project Rachel healing and come to a point of true healing, and it's great hope that is available for them. There's some other resources there. There's also a national website for Project Rachel called Hope After Abortion, both in English and Spanish. So there are all kinds of resources there. And I would just encourage anyone who looks on either one, look at the phone numbers. If you're really in pain yourself, want to help somebody else, try to pick up the phone and call. It really is the best way to begin a conversation. And, just say that if you call, we know why you're calling, so don't worry about having a big explanation of why the call is being made, because some women just can't get the words out of their mouth. So just call and trust in God, and trust in the tender and loving mercy of God. So it'll be okay. Everything's going to be okay.
Thank you. Some great words there. Thank you, Marianne, for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity. Have a great day.
Thanks.
You too. Bye.